really been a priority for the Democratic Party overall in politics as a whole, as a black population.
It's just the way that they don't address our issues that concern actually black people, especially working class black people.
I don't think any Democratic Party prioritizes the black vote because it's always a ploy to get the black vote, make all these promises, but once that vote is in and stuff like that, then it's operation as normal.
All right, warriors, we are talking about the Democrat Party and how Black Americans have turned away from this party. Not completely. We're talking about people that are more and more turning away from the Democrat Party because they see right through it. And I'm going to go over the actual tricks and schemes and how this actually, first of all, how did black people even get here to begin with? We're talking about this today on Chat With Me, Linda B. All right, Democrat Party. I've done videos on this and I have several clips that I want to share with you. We got to talk about how the Democrat Party actually got a stronghold onto Black America, because at first we were really a Republican voting party, a Republican voting group of people, you know, with Abraham Lincoln, with the Emancipation and the Reconstruction era. Black men were allowed to not only vote, but run for public office. And we were solidly Republican as a group of people. But what exactly happened to us? Well, first of all, I'm going to go to this clip with Officer Tatum when he was on Jubilee. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to go into some other things. But let's just take a watch.
What has Democrats done for black people
I
in
will
America?
tell you.
Give me policy and give me a reason why
I will tell you.
A person like me would vote for the Democrats at the current state that they're in now.
Why is there such an enormous wealth disparity if
Why
other
is there
people are being discriminated against?
Why is there a wealth disparity between Asians and whites?
What do you and
White
where?
people, Asian people make tremendous amount more money than white people on average.
Because of the relationship that the United States has.
And why
with
do
China.
black people? But why do black people, immigrants who come over here, are more educated? They have less crime. All of these statistical data points that immigrants who come over here do better, black immigrants, than black citizens.
They don't have the history of oppression in this country that we have.
What does that tell you? It's not about color. It's about decisions.
No,
Because
it is
a
about
black
color when it comes to black people in America.
No, a black person can come over here from a foreign country and be very
that's
successful
not
at
true.
rates that are higher than
That's
black
not true.
citizens.
Those
That is
differences are
facts.
what year did blacks begin voting en masse for the Democratic Party? Do you know?
It began in the 30s and 40s.
You're right. Okay, so it began in 1930.
Began, not as prolific as it is today, but it began there.
So originally, African Americans voted for the Republican Party squarely because of the legislative efforts of Abraham Lincoln and the radical Republicans in Congress. They continued to vote for them right up until the New Deal. The reason why things shifted is because after the radical Republicans left Congress, the Republican Party stepped back and allowed the Confederacy to make a comeback in the form of the Ku Klux Klan.
The Ku Klux Klan was a Democrat military arm of the Democrat Party. No, you got to be very clear.
No, I'll be clear.
That was the Democrats.
I will be clear.
All right, so you saw that there. And, you know, it's interesting that the man that Officer Tatum was speaking with was saying that the government stepped back and allowed the Triple K to take over. But when I look it up, there were laws passed, the Triple K Act, that were actually going after the Triple K to suppress what they were trying to do and suppress their force. And the fact that you even bring that up, that was the militant arm of the Democrat Party again. So the things that the people on the left who vote Democrat complain about, they're complaining about the things that their party actually did. It is in the history books. All right, the Democrats were the pro-slavery, pro-Jim Crow party. And with welfare and manipulation through federal government assistance, you know, after in the 1930s, that was after the Great Depression, Black people started going towards, not like it is today, like Officer Tatum alluded to. We started moving that way because it looked like they were trying to help, not realizing that help actually is what hurt us. Anytime you give someone something and don't allow them to, and they take it and just kind of lean into it and not use their own ingenuity and God-given skills and abilities that he has given all of his creation to be entrepreneurs, to have a nuclear family with a father and a mother and raise your children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. That is the focus. The government became the focus instead of God. That is where we went wrong. And it started in the 1930s, which was post the Great Depression. Now let's hear from some other folks out here in the streets talking about those demon rats.
I am a former Democrat who walked away from the plantation of the Democratic Party.
I'm extremely happy that I escaped the Democratic plantation, the socialist, communist, Democratic plantation that I was trapped on, because when I started voting at the age of 18, I asked my parents what to vote for. They told me Democrat, and so I voted Democrat because they told me to. Little did I know, I was literally voting for communism.
It seems like to me that we're heading into some kind of communist society, and quite frankly with you, I don't like it.
They never cared for Blacks and Hispanics, and I'm talking about the Democrat Party. The conversations that's been had behind the scenes has always been, hey, let's do a community giveaway, keep the Blacks and Hispanics on a leash.
Then I learned about wokeness. That's a major red flag. And anyone who didn't comply would either have their life ruined or they would be vilified on the internet just for saying no and expressing boundaries.
I realized where the LGBT community was beginning to really get out of hand.
It is very well known that the Democrat parties, but the Democrats are actually the pro-slavery party. The creators of the KKK and Jim Crow, responsible for the brutal beatings, lynchings, and church bombings.
The Republican Party was really the first party of the Black people, and knowing that the Democratic Party had very close ties to the creation of the KKK, they were the ones who implemented those Jim Crow laws, and so it just really, really made me think, like, whoa, this is crazy.
Go around the streets here in Brooklyn and ask people, why do they like the Democrat Party so much? You can best believe there will be absolutely no answer regarding policies. You're just trained to be democratic with no train of thought, no questions, no reasoning whatsoever.
I knew that I was in a cult, but I felt like, if I can fix it, then it will be okay. I won't have to own up to being in a cult because I will have fixed it from the inside. And I think that's probably how a lot of left-wing people feel today.
When I was in high school, my liberal high school I went to, they taught me that Black people couldn't be racist. We could only be prejudiced, which is some BS.
I walked away from the Democratic Party because when I was fighting for justice for my son, I went to all the different organizations and agencies that are here in New York City that are all run by Democrat. And all of them shunned me, ostracized me, turned a nose on me. The Republicans are the ones that reached out to me.
They are not for us. They want to control, bully. And that is why I decided to lead the Democrat Party. Their policies were never meant to help us. It's only meant to keep us in line and to control us while they continue to destroy the city and this country.
That is because to remain a supporter of the Democrat Party, I would be an active and willing participant in the systemic racism designed to hold me back.
Being told to essentially dumb myself down because I'm a Black woman, I was really done with the left after that.
Defunding the police, Black Lives Matter, all that stuff, all that stuff was the progressive Democrats, and all we saw was death and destruction.
This new party of extreme radicalism, they're more racist than any other party that I can think of. They use identity politics to try to hide behind their extremism, their racism. And these are groups that's feeding it to the politicians to repeat the same thing that they're all scripted to say. Wake up, people.
There you have it. And let me just also add that the Democrat Party has all, in my opinion, I'll say allegedly anyway, has always, it was formed to me to always push us towards communism. If you know anything about communism, it began in America in the 1930s. And how did they introduce it to us? The New Deal, FDR, welfare benefits to keep you dependent on the government. And then again, the next wave of dependency in the 1960s, disrupting the Black family unit. In that one clip with Officer Tatum, you know, he was talking about how Asians are doing better than white Americans. And then the Black people from other countries are doing better than the Black Americans here who grew up here. And you got to think, well, why is that? You know why that is? Their families are more intact. The group of people that have their families more intact are going to do better than the other groups of people. Whichever group families are the least intact, well, they're going to do worse. They're going to do a lot worse because you have the Asian community whose families are overwhelmingly intact, and coincidentally, they're doing better overall, financially and in every other way. Commit less crimes. I'm telling you, there is some kind of correlation between family unit, having it in place, an intact family with the dad in the home, provided he is the right kind of father. There is a correlation between stability. It is that way. And Black people, we tend to be on the bottom because our families, for the most part, have been destroyed through the welfare state. So we are actually, if you vote Democrat, I'm just telling you right now, no matter what you look like, but Black Americans, you're just really voting for your own destruction. And other folks, whether it's white liberals or any liberal of any ethnicity, we are voting for the destruction of this country because they have always been the party that is about control, fear mongering. They use violence and intimidation. If you don't comply, you get bullied. And they use rich, influential celebrities to keep us thinking and voting a certain way. Well, some of us see right through it. You cannot bully us. You cannot tell us, I have to think the way you think. Your direct messages, your posts and comments up under what I post isn't going to make me shrink back. It will make me fight harder. I want to take the head off of the snake, destroy it, because we have got to stand up for what is right in this country. We will not be silenced. We will not be bullied. We will not be told you have to think this way. They have always been that way. During Reconstruction, when there was an election, the Triple K Democrat politicians went around taking the lives of Republicans, taking their lives, the ones that were Black and otherwise, because they wanted the power. And they did exactly that. Now they have other ways of doing it. And one of their ways of doing it is using a Black face to spew out their communism, to spew out and make it look like, well, we're for you. We're for you. You all have got to see that they will use a person that has sold their soul to the demons to get us to continue to vote for the destruction of our country. That's why they want socialism. Look at the Democrat Socialists of America and their platform. They want to get rid of the police, get rid of ICE, have no border, so the border would be wide open. They have linked themselves up to radical Islam, communism, and wokeism. They've done that. And they're always bringing up racism because they are the party of racism. That's why you got your little bobbleheads like Al Sharpton and Ben Crump going around throwing people back into the racist history of Mississippi, when Mississippi today is nothing like the Mississippi back then, because they don't want you to be free at all. And they use people like Jamal Bryant, D.L. Hughley. Notice the people that they're using, Don Lemon, to keep us down because they need our vote. Our vote is still very influential. But they've also turned on us a little bit with these illegals, and they don't want voter ID. They're trying to grab onto control and never ever let it go. Understand what is truly happening around us. Look at the neighborhoods and districts ran by Democrats. They've always been pushing us towards communism. That's why they want to disrupt everything that is a social norm. They don't even want you to know what a woman is. When you have gone that far into depravity, you have gone very, very far. And let me just tell you, we have got to turn our focus back to God. Once we do that, the God of the Bible, not this woke Christianity, not cultural Christianity, but biblical Christianity, when we turn to God and put our minds and our hearts on him, repent sincerely, then we will be a people that will rise up out of the ashes and link arms with people who are like-minded, no matter what they look like, and love this nation. Because when you love something, you want to protect it. Opening up a border and not having police, not having a military does not sound like love, because you are allowing the criminals to take over. Know what love actually looks like. Thank y'all for watching this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select the all notification bell. You all be blessed. Remember, it is about God, family, and country. And as I always say, march on, warriors.
March on, warriors. Time to stand against evil. We were made for this hour. The enemy is no equal. Raise that truth like a banner. Let the dark close in. We still win. Oh, march on, warriors. Time to stand together again.